Hey everybody, this is Scott from Forgot to Curl Up. Welcome to our Westworld Season 3 Episode 5 Thoughts video. Just finished watching the latest episode of Westworld on HBO, and I'm just going to be sharing my general thoughts on the episode. In this episode, we learned more about Sirach's backstory, particularly when it comes to involving the Rohabomb system, the big computer system that programs and predicts and controls everybody's life that we've been looking into. So yeah, we learned about that, and we also follow Dolores and Cal as they're starting to implement the first part of Dolores's plan. So yeah, this episode was kind of fun because I like that we were explored a little bit into Sirach's background and how he came up with this system, having developed it with his brother and the money from this hedge fund kind of guy, and how they were able to build this system that let them kind of be able to predict and control society. And so it was just a really kind of interesting to kind of learn a little bit more, get a little more background on this thing we've kind of learned a little bit about, that we've gotten hints about and seen little bits about, like had Dolores explain to Cal about it before. But it was interesting to kind of see from the guy who created it, at least in this story at least. So yeah, it was interesting to kind of just see that Sirach's backstory, a little bit more of an insight into his mind, which is that, you know, he sees their system, you know, pretty much just predicts the future in a sense, using all the variables that humans, and one thing that every scenario always ended in eventually was some kind of, you know, society ending, or some kind of society ending event, and that would, you know, cause the system to crash and then all society to crash. And Sirach kind of concludes that this is because there are certain individuals who just don't fit into this system, and therefore the system, you know, therefore they'd eventually go against the system. And so his idea is to use the system, well, corrupt the system in a sense, to use it to his advantages in order to implement what he sees as, you know, the right path forward for humanity and for society. So yeah, I really enjoyed kind of getting this insight into this guy's head, because you're like, oh, you're an evil genius. You know, having this kind of idea of that, you know, he knows best about, you know, for all of humanity, that he should be the one to decide all of the, you know, what's best for humanity, just because he made a computer system that predicts things sometimes. And it's and so I just thought it was really kind of interesting to kind of get more of an insight into that, make him seem a little bit more like the actual bad guy. Up to now, he's just seemed kind of bad guy in the sense of, like, you know, mustache twirly. He doesn't have a mustache, but in the sense that he's just been doing he's been kind of acting kind of, you know, not bad, but, you know, like, he's been just kind of acting shifty in a sense. So this one was kind of interesting to learn a little bit more about his mindset and why, you know, he's, you know, wants to stop Dolores, and why he wants to, you know, stop all the AIs and all this stuff. So I thought it was a little bit interesting. It was interesting to learn about his kind of motives and the mindset that is kind of motivating this character. Yeah, that would be motives. So yeah, that was really interesting. And then the other part of this story we were following, like I said, Dolores implementing the first part of her plan, which involved her boyfriend that we met in this first few episodes. Her boyfriend, the millionaire tech guy with the glass. Oh, excuse me, the tech guy. I believe his name's Liam. And so they end up like, you know, they're trying to keep Liam, I think is his name, from, you know, Sirach and Sirach's men, and Dolores is obviously trying to use this guy to get access to the system in order to implement her plan, which, spoiler alert, it was to give everybody their files, to release everybody's file on themselves that the Insight has on everybody, and just give it to everybody so that they can know about this system that's, you know, controlling them, what these outcomes are. And so yeah, I really enjoyed it was just really interesting to kind of get the first part of the, you know, Dolores's plan, which is this is the sow chaos part, you know, create chaos in society, in order for her to then implement the next parts of her plan. So that was interesting to kind of see. And then, you know, had them having this kind of debate, you know, obviously the millionaire tech guy doesn't want them to do this because he's obviously at the top of this system and he helps run it. So obviously he has, you know, these bias that he doesn't even understand, because he thinks he knows best because he's at the top. And it's like, well, no, obviously you think you know best. You're running the shit. You know, it's kind of like, duh. But anyways, I just thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, we see Dolores, using his access to, give everybody their files in order to start to create chaos. We see a little bit of like kind of a conflict in Cal, who personally did see his own file and kind of felt everybody should, but also wasn't really 100% sure if it was right for everybody, if everybody could handle it. Oh, another thing that happened to Cal in this episode, he got drugged, which I really thought was a really fun element to this episode, and a big part of this episode actually in particular, especially since the main stuff with Dolores and Cal was them in a car chase, which I like a car chase. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy a car chase. I like seeing people on the run. I really enjoyed that, but I like the extra element of them adding in this little bit of a, I don't want to say gimmick, but this, storytelling, this storytelling device of giving, I almost called him Jesse Pinkman, giving Cal drugging him and then being able to, having to see him experiencing this night through the experience of this drug called genre, which gives you these different cinematic experiences while you go through the night, which I thought was really which was fun. It's a fun gimmick, just not only called gimmick, but again, storytelling device of being like, well, not storytelling necessarily. Well, yes, storytelling, but in this case, a little bit more just, cinematically presented. I don't know if I'm getting the right word for this, but they were able to shoot in different styles. We got a little bit of film noir. We saw a little bit of like a rom-com type of thing, and a few different of the genres. So I just thought that was fun, and again, this fun device that the writers can use, and slash the filmmakers of this can use, or yes, the filmmakers who could use in order to play around with a little bit, because obviously this isn't a film noir show. But it's fun to be able to have all the fun being like, yeah, Cal's a little drugged up, so he's going to see this, scene in a film noir and this scene in a little bit of a thought. And so I just liked it as that kind of device. I thought it was just fun. Wow, I talked about that a lot longer than I meant to. But yeah, so what else did I have written down about this episode? Yeah, not too much else happens after that, pretty much. We do see Cal at one point see Dolores take 3 bullets, and then he's just like, hey, how are you standing up this time still? I saved you last time when you got shot. Huh? And she's just like, don't worry about it. And I was just like, really, Cal? You're not going to press that one? You don't want to know what her secret is? If I saw somebody take 3 bullets and just try to be like, it's okay, I'd be like, no, I would like, teach me that secret. Obviously, we know. But he doesn't know yet that she is a host, so I just think it was a little funny that how kind of ready he is to just dismiss it. In his defense, he was still coming off of this, the genre drug, so that could be part of it. And there's just so much shit going on all the time with them that it's like sometimes he's pretty much just rolling with the punches as much as he can. So stopping to question her getting shot, I guess. Maybe I'm asking too much, but yeah. So another thing I just had written down was we see at one point we see a little bit in this one with Bernard. Bernard's was been captured by Martin. Martin is the head of operations kind of guy. He seems like a head of security to me, but he does a whole lot more than head of security for the tech guy that Dolores had flipped and turned, and so he's technically Dolores or a copy of Dolores, but also still the Martin guy. Yeah, that's host for you. And so yeah, we see him we see Bernard and him talking, and while he's helping to implement Dolores' plan of sending the files to everybody, and he says to Bernard at one point, "You're the only one we can't replace." And I was like, ooh, I love a mysterious, ominous line like that. Suddenly this little bit of mystery. I mean, like, guess what, Bernard? You're not just a regular host. You're extra special. You can't be replaced. But why? We won't tell you why in this moment. We're just going to give you one sentence telling you can't be replaced. So I just kind of enjoyed that. Again, like I said, because of it's kind of a nice, fun, ominous line, brings up this kind of mystery, being like, well, what's different about Bernard? What's so different about him that he, like, yes, it makes sense to me that Dolores can be replaced because she's got copies of herself, so she can make more copies, I would presume. But it's just like, what's going on with Bernard? Why did they say that? So I just like that this kind of very ominous, setting up some kind of mystery in the future. But yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts on this episode of Westworld. Be sure to let me know in the comments below what you thought about this latest episode. Thanks again for joining me today. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a good one.